Every New Year's Eve, the whole town climbed the steep frozen hill behind the abandoned fairgrounds to watch fireworks. It was tradition. Families bundled in thick coats, kids dragged plastic sleds, and teenagers snuck flasks into their jacket. Pockets dot, and every year, at the very top of that hill, a black silhouette loomed, the remains of the Victorian house everyone called Fireworks Hill Manor. Half the roof was gone. The windows were shattered, boarded up with rotting planks. Locals swore you could hear screams when the fireworks began. Echoes of the night the house burned in 1962, killing everyone inside. I was 17 that winter, caught between disbelief and the thrill of being scared. My friends, Jake, Maddie, and Lewis, dared me to do something stupid. Spend 10 minutes inside the house at midnight. 10 minutes. Jake grinned, teeth chattering in the cold. You last that long. We cover your snacks for the rest of the semester. Or your funeral, Maddie muttered, half joking, half not. We laughed it off. But as the crowd gathered at the hill's base, clutching sparklers and thermoses of cocoa, I couldn't ignore the way the house seemed to watch us from above. Its shattered windows reflected no light. Only the void dot we broke away from the group around. 11:30? The climb was brutal. Knee-deep snow. Gusts of wind cutting through. Our scarves, distant booms of test fireworks echoing from downtown. The closer we got, the quieter the hill became. Even the cheering below felt muffled, like we'd stepped into another world. The house appeared massive up close, a skeleton of scorched wood and sagging beams. The porch creaked under our weight, snow spilling through holes in the roof. A rusted "Keep out" sign dangled from one nail, swaying slightly, though there was no wind. Creepy as hell, Lewis whispered. Bet someone's squatting in there. Not in this weather, Jake said, shoving me forward. Go on. 10 minutes. I pulled out my phone, flashlight trembling in my hand, and pushed the door open. It groaned loudly. Too loudly. Like something was alive in the hinges. Inside smelled of wet ash and mold. The grand staircase tilted to one side. Its banisters snapped halfway up. Wallpaper peeled in curling strips, revealing blackened wood beneath. A chandelier dangled overhead. Its crystals shattered across the floor. 10 minutes, I muttered, setting my timer. Easy. But even as I stepped inside, I noticed something strange. No footprints in the snow on the floor. Not from animals, not from other kids who dared each other before. Only untouched, perfect white. I wandered deeper, past collapsed doorways and burned-out rooms, until I found what must have been the parlor. Half the wall was missing. Opening to the night sky, fireworks flaring faintly in the distance, my timer read 11:58. 2 minutes to go. And that's when I heard it, footsteps. Above me, slow, deliberate creaks on the second floor. Jake? I whispered, thinking they'd snuck in to mess with me. No answer. I scanned the ceiling with my flashlight. Dust fell in tiny streams from the boards. The footsteps moved toward the staircase, toward me. The first firework exploded outside. A flash of green illuminating the broken windows. Then came the whisper. A child's voice, faint and sing-song. Happy New Year. The whisper was followed by laughter, high-pitched, distorted. Echoing through every room at once, I bolted for the door, but it slammed shut with a deafening bang. My phone's flashlight flickered, plunging the house into strobe-like flashes. Of light and shadow, the smell of smoke hit me next. Acrid, suffocating. I coughed, covering my face, but there was no fire. Only the illusion of flames licking the walls, blackening the ceiling. Figures appeared in the flicker. Men, women, children. Their faces were pale, burned, hollow-eyed. They stood in the doorway, on the stairs, in the corners, silent, watching. Emmy. Then, in perfect unison, they screamed. The sound wasn't human. It rattled my skull, made my vision blur. I stumbled backward, tripping over debris, as phantom fire roared around me. Get out. A deep voice bellowed, but every door slammed shut at once. Windows shattered inward. The chandelier crashed beside me, spraying shards across the floor. And through it all, Above the screams and the roar of non-existent flames, that child's whisper persisted. Happy New Year. I don't remember leaving. 1 second I was choking. In thick smoke, sprinting through collapsing halls. The next I was face down in the snow outside, my friend shaking me awake. Dude! Jake yelled. Where were you? What do you mean? I croaked. My voice was raw. Throat burned. You were gone for almost an hour. Maddie's face was pale. We heard screaming from inside. Then, nothing. I looked back at the house. It stood silent and black, windows hollow. No sign of flames. No footprints but mine. But as the last firework exploded overhead, I saw it. A small face in the attic window. A child. Smiling. 2 weeks later, the house burned down again. After a lightning strike. No one rebuilt it. New Year's Eve, 2018. My brother Ryan and I were driving home from a party 3 towns over, cutting through the rural backroads of Nebraska. Snow had fallen earlier in the day, leaving the cornfields coated in white. The road stretched endlessly ahead of us. No streetlights. No other cars, just our headlights cutting through the darkness. Ryan was half drunk, but swore he could drive. I didn't argue. The last thing I wanted was to wait around in the freezing cold while we sobered up. We'd taken what he called a shortcut, but the GPS kept glitching, rerouting us in circles. The deeper we went, the more wrong it felt. The cornfields were dead, stalks brittle and black against the snow. Wind whistled through them, carrying an eerie hum. At 11:40 p.m., Ryan's old Ford coughed and died. Seriously. I muttered, "We're 10 minutes from midnight." He banged the steering wheel. "Battery's fine. The gas is fine." It just stopped. No signal. No houses. No sound except the distant echo of fireworks from some far-off town. We were alone. Or so we thought. We decided to walk. The road was ice, crunching under our boots as we headed toward what looked like a barn in the distance. A black silhouette. Against the moonlit snow. That's when we saw them. Faint lights in the corn. Dozens of them. Flickering lanterns swaying. Between the stalks, farmers? Ryan guessed, though his voice trembled. No farmer celebrates midnight in a dead field. I whispered. The lights drew closer, forming a slow circle around us. Figures emerged, hooded shapes, faces hidden, moving in perfect unison. None of them spoke. They just walked, silent but deliberate, boots crunching snow in rhythm. Ryan grabbed my arm. "Don't freak out," he muttered. "But they're counting." I listened. Beneath the wind, beneath the distant fireworks, I heard it too. A low, guttural chant. 10, 9, 8. Panic took over. We bolted toward the barn, slipping on ice, crashing through dead stalks. The chant grew louder, distorted, overlapping itself as if dozens of voices echoed inside my skull. 7, 6, 5. Lanterns swung wildly behind us, closing in. I glanced back. Their faces were pale, eyes black, mouths open in silent screams. Ryan tripped, falling hard on his knees. I dragged him up, both of us gasping when the barn finally came into view. A massive, rotting structure, its doors hanging crooked. We slammed them open and stumbled inside. The barn wasn't empty. Animal bones hung from the rafters. A crude altar sat in the center, stained cloth, rusted knives, and a massive clock nailed to the wall. The hands moved backward, dot behind us. The hooded figures entered, forming a perfect circle. Their lanterns extinguished one by one until only moonlight filtered through the broken roof. The chant slowed. 4, 3, 2. The leader stepped forward, pulling back his hood. His face was expressionless, eyes like glass marbles. He held something in his hands, a deer head, freshly severed. "Happy New Year." He whispered. The clock struck midnight. Darkness swallowed everything. I woke up lying in the snow outside the barn. My ears rang. My throat burned like I'd been screaming. Ryan was gone. The barn stood empty. No bones, no altar, no clock. Just silence and endless corn. I stumbled back to the road and flagged down a passing snowplow hours later. The police searched for days but found nothing. No barn, no tracks, no Ryan Dot every New Year's Eve since. I get a text from an unknown number at midnight. 10, 9, 8. I wasn't planning to celebrate New Year's Eve that year. My breakup had left me hollow, and I wanted nothing more than to sleep through the fireworks. But then I got the message. Maple Lodge, midnight. You'll never forget it. It was. From my old college friend, Tyler, the kind of guy who always had access to places no one else did. Maple Lodge was an abandoned ski resort up in Vermont, closed since a fire in the 1980s. Everyone said it was haunted. That skiers who died in the blaze still roamed the halls, laughing whenever snow fell. I almost said no. But something in his text, maybe the promise of distraction or the memory of better winters, made me drive up the icy mountain roads that night. The lodge appeared out of the blizzard, like a corpse, windows boarded, roof sagging under snow, rusted ski lifts. Frozen knitter. Tyler stood out front in a parka, grinning like this was an adventure, not a mistake. Private party, he said. Just us, and whoever wants to make history. I didn't realize then how literal that was. Inside, the lodge was worse than I imagined. The fire had gutted entire wings. Wallpaper hung in tatters, floors warped and buckled. A chandelier lay shattered across the lobby. Glass half buried in snow that drifted through the broken windows. Thought there were 10 of us, friends of friends, strangers who trusted Tyler's reckless charm. We lit candles, passed around bottles, and explored the endless hallways. Every door creaked. Every floor groaned. By 11 p.m., the blizzard outside sealed us in. Power lines down, no cell signal, no roads visible. Just the howl of wind and the feeling, faint but constant, that someone else was here. Whispers in the vents. Footsteps in the rafters. A piano playing faintly in the ballroom, though its keys were shattered. Place is alive, one guy joked, pouring more whiskey. But no one laughed at midnight. We gathered in the ruined dining hall. Candles flickered against cracked mirrors lining the walls. Someone suggested a toast. That's when I saw them dot in the mirror. Behind us, dozens of people in 1920s evening wear. Suits, gowns, champagne flutes raised high. They were smiling, bleeding from their eyes. I spun around. The room was empty, but the mirror kept showing them, dancing, laughing, burning. The air grew thick, heavy with smoke that wasn't there. My throat tightened. The mirrors fogged, then dripped, red like blood. Tell me you see that. I whispered. No one answered because no one was there anymore. The party dissolved into chaos. Hallways twisted. Doors appeared where none had been. Windows opened. Into black voids. I ran, calling for Tyler, for anyone, but the lodge swallowed every sound. Shadows followed me, tall, faceless silhouettes gliding silently at the edge of my vision. Whispers rose to screams, overlapping chants of Happy New Year, warped into static dot at some point. I found a cracked mirror that didn't reflect me at all. Instead, it showed the outside of the lodge, snow falling, fireworks in the distance. And in the snow, it showed my body, face down, motionless. I burst through a side door into the blizzard. The wind sliced through me, snow blinding my eyes. Behind me, Maple Lodge glowed faintly, windows pulsing with light, laughter echoing faint across the hills. I stumbled downhill until my legs gave out, collapsing into the snow. My last memory. Before blacking out was the distant whisper of a toast. Happy New Year. I woke up 3 days later in a hospital. They never found the lodge. The road where I swore it stood was just forest, untouched snow, no ruins, no signs of fire. But every year since, I hear faint laughter in the wind when the clock strikes 12.